Hi, and welcome to Money Mondays. My name's Cheryl, and I'm the Housing Resource Specialist at the Trenton MFRC. Today on Money Mondays, we are talking about insurance, and our expert on this subject today is Ashley. She's from SISIP, and she does life insurance. So thank you for joining us today, Ashley.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess we'll just get right into it. So why should people get life insurance?
It's a great question because I think a lot of times when people think about things that they'd like to spend some dollars on, insurance is not the sexiest of those things. You know, I'd rather go on vacation. I'd rather do a lot of wonderful things that things our money can buy. But ultimately, life insurance is one of the smartest things that families can do because ultimately it's a gift of love. Because I think we all have dreams for what we want for our families. If something happens and we can't be here, there's a car accident or an unexpected illness, these things unfortunately happen too often, and we can never anticipate when those things could happen. So for that reason, it's really the financial foundation for a lot of families to say, you know what, if we can't, let's say, build this future we want for our family because we've had an untimely death, then we'll be able to have the dollars that will be payable to the survivor to really make those dreams happen for our family moving forward.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So do you need life insurance if you don't make any money? So for example, if you're a stay-at-home parent, do you still need life insurance?
Absolutely. So a lot of people think about the primary earner. So in the case of, if there is like a primary earner and someone who stays at home with the kids, a lot of people can recognize the need that, oh my gosh, we have to replace the income of the person who is making the dollars. And that is 100% true. But at the same time, we also see that people who are staying at home with children are doing a lot of work that would be very difficult to replicate without extra dollars. Think about who is taking care of the kids, because if the other earner is still earning, then who's taking care of the kids, who's doing the child care, who's doing the meal prep and the chores, all those things would take dollars to replicate properly for a family. So we absolutely see a need for insurance on spouses that are not in the paid workforce.
Right, okay. Is life insurance expensive?
So I would say life insurance is definitely not expensive, especially for the peace of mind that it provides. But when we're looking at how much a life insurance costs, it's really looking at a couple of different things. Your smoking status, how much coverage you actually want, right? So a $250,000 of insurance is going to be less expensive than $1 million of insurance. That makes sense, right? But also we're also looking as well at the age of a person as well. So if you get insurance in your 20s, that's going to be less expensive than if you're buying it at 45.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
How do you know how much life insurance you're going to need?
Fantastic question here, because this is literally the first thing we start with at any meeting with a family that wants to look into life insurance, is to say, okay, well, let's look at what your family needs, because it doesn't make sense for us to throw out a number like a dartboard and say, oh, you need 500,000. That's crazy. What we actually have to do is talk to that family about what their actual priorities look like. So some people have mortgage balances that they'd like to have handled. Other people don't have mortgages. Maybe they're renters, so maybe they'll need less insurance. Some people have high income replacement needs. Other people have low income replacement needs. So anytime you're going into a life insurance conversation with a professional, you should be prepared with some numbers that you should know going into that meeting. Things like, well, what do my debt look like? And also gross and net income for the family. That's really helpful, because that can really help us make a thoughtful recommendation for your family, which may not be the same as the next family that walks in right after you.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So then once you have the life insurance in place, like how often should you go back to it and review it and maybe make changes and stuff like that?
Awesome. I have two answers for this, okay? Both are right, okay? So I would say if there are no changes that you can identify that are going on, I would say every 3 to 4 years is about right.
Okay.
However, if you have a change in your family situation, so let's say a marriage, a divorce, or maybe you've added children to the family kind of thing, that would be something you'd want to get at right away. So, if you know you're expecting, or the baby's just arrived, that's the perfect time. Don't wait that 3 to 4 years if it's if it's been there. And of course, debt changes as well. So if you take on a mortgage, we really need to be able to see you in order to make sure that we have your coverage where it ought to be.
Okay. So what happens when someone dies? Is it easy for the beneficiary to receive the money that has been put into the life insurance?
Absolutely. This is really important because a lot of people, because they're not here when they die, right, they really have big concerns about what is this process going to look like for my beneficiary, for my spouse, for my children? What does that look like? And I'm happy to report that no one is ever alone during a death claim, okay? So what that means is that as professionals, what we would do is we meet with the beneficiary, we help them through the claims forms, which are not usually long, they're usually like a page or two, and then we take photocopies of what we need to take photocopies of in order to support the claim. And usually, when we get those claims form in, my experience has been that the money is in the bank account of your beneficiary within usually less than a week. It's very
Oh,
fast.
that is fast, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want people to know about life insurance?
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of it, obviously. I have a lot of it myself. I have a spouse and 2 kids and the mortgage and, and the cat, the whole thing. So I always feel that it's really the financial foundation for every single family. Every Canadian should have some life insurance, in my opinion, because it's really that gift of love moving forward to say, hey, if I can't be here to make these dreams happen for our family, that doesn't mean that the people left behind can't still have those dreams accomplished. I have a colleague, Troy Brown, who also works at the insurance office in Trenton here, and he likes to say that if you have to step out, your life insurance steps in. And I thought that was very poetic, so I figured I would try to include that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming here and talking to us about insurance. It's something we don't often necessarily think about. So I think this is a really important financial piece for us to start considering if we haven't done it already. So thank you so much, Ashley.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate it.